Journey's podcast is recorded at Doghouse Studios to an audience of you. To get a hold of Chad Jones, follow him on Instagram at ChadMFingJones. Remember, if you like the content, like the content. Welcome back to Journey's podcast. I'm Chad Jones, and for Friday, August 6th, today we have a special guest, my sister, Erica Orr. Take it away.
Hi, so as he just introduced me, I'm his sister, Erica Orr, and today he brought me on to talk about my journey and kind of, I'm guessing, what I'm going through. And I feel right now there's a lot going on with my life, as, you know, he can relate. There's stuff going on with our family, and, you know, nobody's family is perfect. And I feel right now with everything going on, I'm really anxious about just everything, and, you know, just overthinking and not wanting to overthink, and, but waking up and overthinking and being anxious about, what I'm going to do today, what I'm going to, just do. And if I'm going to go for a drive, if I'm going to go for a walk, if I'm going to talk to my brother, my sister, or, call any of my friends. And I just feel there's so much pressure on me right now to do something with, involving people like my family and friends. And right now, I'm 19, so I'm trying to go to school and get a job and try to get, my life started. And there's just, with COVID right now, it's just not been easy. And I feel that's a huge pressure right now, trying to get back up and do what I want to do with my life. And it's getting to the point where I don't enjoy waking up anymore. And I know I'm struggling with my depression. It's kicking my ass right now, which is hard, but I'm waking up and trying every day to, exist and not just be a shell of someone. Trying to, wake up and call someone, get dressed, walk my dogs, go for a drive. I'm just trying, and it's hard. And I feel like I'm alone, and I know I'm not alone with, struggling. Because I know everyone struggles, whether it's with family, friends, life, job, anything. It's just, I know nobody's alone, but it feels like that right now. And it's hard. And I just feel like there's just so much pressure on me to be somebody and to get my life together, when I know there's not. And there's reasons to be excited for the next day, but when you're feeling alone and depressed and anxious, you just don't want to wake up. You want to find a reason to live, but at the same time, you don't want to wake up that next morning. You want to find a reason to be like, wow, I'm so excited for today, but you're not. You're kind of just, you're there, and it's hard to get out of bed and be motivated. And I feel like a few people, not even a few, I feel like a lot of people can go through that and, not tell anyone. And it sucks, because you can talk to someone about being alone or depressed or anxious or, mad or happy. You should be allowed to express your feelings. And even if I have my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, even, my sister-in-law, she's great. It's just, it always feels like I'm alone, and I can't go to someone and be like, hey, I'm feeling like this. And I know maybe a few of you struggle with that, maybe a few of you don't, but, I'm trying to find a reason to get up and, not be upset, not be, not struggling with my depression or my anxiousness. And, I'm trying, and that's kind of aggravating me to the point now I'm mad at myself, and, I'm mad at, everyone around me, and I'm yelling at everyone, and I feel bad. I yelled at my sister today, went to go apologize. She didn't answer, which rightfully so. Maybe she was at work, maybe she was ignoring me. You never know, but probably have to call her later and apologize. Probably my brother, yelling at him, probably. He'll take it. He'll, let me take my aggravation out, and I feel terrible, but I'm just mad at the world. I'm mad at, my grandpa right now. I'm mad at him. He's treating everyone terribly, and nobody should be treated that way by their family. And no matter how much you think, wow, family is always there for you. I feel like I was raised right by my parents, but I also realized, my generation itself, which is, Generation Z, is, if your family is not good to you, why would you be good to them? And I'm not saying my family's not good. I'm saying, my grandpa has never tried to get to know me. He has not tried to acknowledge me. He called me one day out of the blue and was like, hey, we don't know each other very well. And then I was like, well, we never tried to get to know each other. I can call you. And he kind of was like, no, don't call me. Like, don't get to know me. I'm, dying anyway soon. And it was just the way that whole call went, where I was just like, but if, you're aging, your time's almost up, you think you would try to get to know me. Like, at this rate, I feel like I don't owe him anything, and I don't owe to give him my time or, my effort. When when he was in the hospital, I went to his house to help clean. I helped my mom, my brother, my aunt, my aunt's partner. I went to go help them clean his house, and he was just so rude about it. He was like, you're trespassing, you're all these things. And I feel like that's not okay. Like, we're trying to make him feel better. And, he's just, right now, there's so much stress going on. And I feel like he's just the center of the, everything going on. And I feel like it's just, no matter how much you try to fix, there's always something wrong. There's always something where you're just like, okay, well, we fixed this. What's the next issue with him? What's the next issue with, anything? And I feel like you always, not even just with my grandpa, just everything in life, you fix one thing and another issue comes up. And everyone's like, life gets easier. And I feel like it doesn't. I'm at the point in life where I'm just like, does it get easier? Do I want to be here for it to get easier? Do I want to wake up every day and be like, does it get easier? Because, my grandpa's, I don't even know how old at this rate, old, and he doesn't look happy anymore. And, my parents, they're mid-age, and it's just, they don't look happy with just anything going on. And, my brother's still fairly young, and, it doesn't look like it gets easier. And I don't know if I'm willing to want to be here to watch it get easier. And I feel like a lot of people go through that. And, I talked about being alone earlier, and I know I'm not alone. And, anyone who's listening to this is not alone. There's always somebody there. It's a matter of if you want to genuinely talk about how you feel. And, going to someone, going to a friend, going to a family member, even professional help. And I know that would genuinely be helpful to anyone. And I don't know if I'm willing to put myself in that position where I'm like, I know I should talk to someone, but I don't want to. It's hard right now. And I know with COVID and all that and the news, or they're like, oh my God, there's going to be a fourth wave. Okay, you're not helping the cause of just making everyone more nervous and scared about what's to come. And, you never know what's about to come. And, it's hard, and life's hard. And I know that I'm not going to say it gets easier, but I know it gets, better to handle and manage, and genuinely just look and be like, wow, I got through that, whether you got through something with a friend or not. And just, anyone listening to this can know that there is somebody there that cares for them, and somebody who will always be there, whether it's, in my case, whether it's a friend I haven't talked to in a year, whether it's, a stranger. Somebody will always want what's best for you, whether they don't know you all that well or they've known you forever. There will always be someone to talk about just anything with, and it's nice. And I guess that's the nice part about, knowing people. Whether you don't need a huge friend group or a huge family to know that you're, you have someone and you're not alone. And, for me personally, when I struggle with depression, anxiety, it's kind of nice to turn to my brother or my sister who are, not always struggling with the same things, but are there for me. And, it's nice. So, I will be back in a minute, not really, with my brother, Chad Jones. So, see you guys soon.
Welcome back. So Erica is joining me on the second half. You were my first guest. I'm so happy. How was that? How did that feel?
It felt really good to be able to let some emotions off, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to what I'm saying. And, I know you could. I feel like our sister Amy could. I feel like even other people listening to this could relate to just, anything I just said, whether it's like a little bit or a huge amount. I feel like it's kind of nice even just to like talk to someone, even if nobody's, listening to it at the moment besides just me and you. It was really nice to just let it out and know somebody's going to listen to it and be like, wow, somebody might be going through what I'm going through.
What do you think is like the most relatable thing you said?
I feel like there could be a few things. I feel like one is, I know not everybody looks forward to that day. I know some people just don't want to wake up that day. They don't, personally, I won't go to bed because I don't want to wake up. And I feel like some people relate to that in the fact where they're like, they'll stay up all night because they're scared for the morning to come, or they're, they're just anxious for that morning and they're scared. Or, another thing is being alone, even though you have all these amazing people to support you. I feel like there will be people who are scared that they're alone and that people won't support them. And, no matter how many people are there for you, you might be like, I don't have anyone. I feel like I have no one. And I feel like that people knowing that somebody else is going through what they're going through is just, it'll help them out a lot too.
So what would be your advice, being somebody who has a hard time reaching out when you need to reach out? What would you say to our listeners out there about about breaking down that wall, that initial barrier that's like, I feel alone and nobody wants to hear it? What advice would you give to the person in the situation that really needs that push?
I feel like even the little steps, opening up little by little, you don't need to, jump full in. You don't need to jump for the deep end, just walk in slowly and just kind of, open up a bit. You don't need to open up right away and be like, this is what I'm feeling, I don't know what to do, all these things. I feel like you should just be like, hey, I've been going through maybe just like a little bit, or just, hey, I need a friend to talk to get my mind off something. You don't need to just, jump full tilt in and be like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. Just little steps, and know that, you may think nobody's there, but there's always someone, whether, it's someone you've known for a little bit amount of time that you feel like a connection with, or, like a best friend, somebody you would consider even like your family who's not blood related. I feel like, anyone is there, and it doesn't have to be family. It doesn't have to be friends. Sometimes it might, you might need to talk to someone who doesn't know you personally. And I found from personal experience that helped too. That's what helped me get to open up to, my family and friends, was talking to someone who didn't know me.
And again, like you said, it's little by little. You don't need a huge expression of feelings right off the bat. You need to have that little bit like, hey, I'm down today. You don't have to come right out, say, I want to hurt myself, I don't want to wake up, I don't want to kill myself. But if you do say that, if you do come out and say, I want to hurt, kill, or maim myself to any degree, I think that's equally as acceptable, even if it's not the small thing. Is that something that, obviously it's stigmatized and it's a hard thing to kind of, somebody comes up to you and be like, hey, I want to kill myself. It's kind of a scary thought. But at the same time, like, is that an appropriate way to approach these conversations with either somebody you have a deep relationship with, or even somebody that you just met?
I feel like if you're really having a bad day and you need that comfort, that it may be a huge step to you, but it might be, it might be the first step you need. Maybe you need that step to, start opening up. Maybe you need, to get that off your chest and be like, I need someone. Whether it's, a little thing where you're just like, hey, I'm down. Or, a bigger thing where you're like, I want to end it now. I no longer want to be here. And, I feel like whatever you want to do to like have that first step to opening up and talking to someone about your life, and if you're down or you want to, you're just in a down like day, or you're genuinely wanting to hurt yourself and do something that's much worse than just being down, then I feel like you should open up to someone. And I feel like it's okay even if you're not, hey, buddy, just, I think opening up to someone, whether you're close or not, kind of, one, tells you that, if they're there for you, even if they don't know you all that well, that shows that they're there for you and they want what's best for you.
One of the things I was hearing about, an analogy from Michael Landsberg, he's a sports writer in Toronto, and he's now working on a mental health project. I don't really know what to call it other than like an initiative. It's really cool. I really like it. Sick Not Weak. And one thing he talked about was being in a hospital, and you go up every single floor, and every single floor that has sick people and sick patients, you feel bad for. You go, geriatric ward, psych, everything. Then you get to the psych ward, and there's a part of you that says, I don't want that door to open. I don't want that. Whatever's here, whatever mess of a human being is waiting for me on the other side. I just, there's that anxiety of it. And that stigma is scary. And I mean, how close do you feel to that psych ward person as opposed to a random person on the street that says the same thing? They could be like, remove the hospital environment. Is that still something that you think is intimidating? It's anxiety inducing? Like, how would you feel if someone off the street said, hey, I feel like killing myself right now?
I feel like I would genuinely, yes, I may not know the person, but I feel like I feel like I would be there for them and be like, hey, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to sit down and talk about it? And if not, do you want to go get like coffee or ice cream to get your mind off it? Do you want to, like, yes, it kind of sounds like it would be a little intimidating for the fact that somebody walks up to you and is like, I want to kill myself. And you're just like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like, of course, you don't want to go somewhere private with them to be like, let's like have alone time. So you never know if they're struggling, what's to stop them from, doing something and maybe causing you harm. So, of course that would be intimidating, but at the same time, you want to help them. You want to talk to them. So, if somebody came up to me and was like, hey, I need to talk to someone. I'm not okay. I'm having these thoughts. I feel like I would, go somewhere public, but in a like quiet area in the public, to talk to them and be there for them and just let them know, yeah, I don't know you, but I'm here for you.
Like, it's something that we should have more of an open conversation about than a closed off. Like, no, that's a really good way of looking at things. One thing before we wrap up today, I really want to ask you is, because we were talking about anxiety versus stress and how anxiety is more of a fear of, or not a fear, but like a future thing that's more of a mental thing. And stress is like, if I'm going for a walk, my body is under stress. And that's kind of how we're looking at it, whether it's a physical manifestation or, you're stressed in your shoulders, whatever the case is. Where would you say you kind of fit on the anxiety stress scale? Are you more on the anxiety side or are you more on the stress side?
I feel personally I'm closer on the anxiety side because, I'll overthink anything. Like driving down to do the podcast, I was anxious for the fact that I was like, oh, what's traffic going to be like? I was overthinking everything before I was even in the car. And, down my street, I was, I was just like, okay, how bad is traffic going to be today? How bad is this? How bad is, like, you know, I personally feel like for a lot of other reasons that I am like closer to anxiety than stress.
Are you less anxious now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Journeys with my sister Erica and giving her the same attention you give me. For any comments or anything you guys want to talk about, please just reply to the email chain and I will get back to you as soon as possible. For Friday, August 6th, this has been Chad Jones. I will see you on another time.